Harry Potter, Arcane, Dishonored, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Pinocchio. What do all of these franchises have in common? Well, right now, I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out, and we're gonna figure it out together. I swear, this isn't clickbait. I promise. Imagine a world where the government, or something even more sinister, has the power to erase words from existence. What words would they remove? Why? And what happens to those who fight back? This is the premise of Word Thief, something that you and I are going to be creating together on YouTube. It's a young adult fantasy series about the power of words and why they're important. Steve, play the intro. Steve, what did I say? Dude, just play it. Can you just play the intro, please? Just play the intro. Thanks, Steve. Welcome to Write With Me, a series where we, the people on the interwebs, create brand new stories together. If you have any ideas for the following story, leave them in the comments below, and I'll talk about your ideas in the next episode. If you don't have any ideas, well, maybe comment or whatever, I don't care. Steve, stop. Seriously. Today we're going to be talking about the building blocks of my new series, Word Thief. I don't know where I'm going to put that on the screen, but somewhere. Word Thief. This series is going to be taking place in a Victorian-inspired city, which is going to be called Conguard. So I love the setting of Victorian era. I've already looked it up. This sort of grungy, smoky, the architecture is very archaic and gothic, right? Gothic is when archers point. Think the smoky streets of AC Syndicate. If you've ever played that game, it does a really good job at highlighting the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s and how that impacted a city like London. Think about the dark, eerie atmosphere of something like Dishonored, something gruesome, something intense, but also something quite fantastical without ever specifically highlighting that fantasticalness. Think about the complex lore of something like Arcane, with the various characters who each of their storylines impact one another and impact the city of Piltover. Black clouds cover the city, something mysterious wafts within the industrialism, something sinister is brewing. A big inspiration for this series will be Harry Potter. Not necessarily how Harry Potter was created. When Harry Potter came out in the 90s, it was actually regarded as young adult, though young adult has changed quite a lot over the years. I love the idea of Harry Potter because it's quite an innocent series with a lot of darker moments, especially once you move on from the first book, the second, the third. Every now and then there's quite a dark moment. Specifically what happened to Robert Pattinson's character in the fourth movie, the fourth book, is really brutal, and I love the idea of a very whimsical world that has dark moments, and this is what Word Thief is going to be all about. Now, one of the things that made Harry Potter really, really special was actually the writing. J.K. Rowling did a really good job at making the writing feel whimsical, feel amazing in its approach of how the storytelling was done. It's quite British. Richard Osman also writes in a very similar style where it feels somewhat witty. Mr. and Miss Dursley of Number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much. They were the last people you would expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious, because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley was the director of a firm called Grunnings, which made drills. He was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large moustache. Miss Dursley was thin and blonde and had nearly twice the usual amount of neck, which came in very useful as she spent so much of her time craning over garden fences, spying on the neighbours. The Dursleys had a small son called Dudley, and in their opinion, there was no funner boy anywhere. Now, although it is a lot of description at first, which shouldn't be done nowadays, there's a sort of atmosphere within the writing. It's almost obnoxious like the Dursleys, and J.K. Rowling does a really good job at representing each of the characters through the writing. This is what we're going to try and replicate with the Word Thief, this sort of tone and style in the writing that feels very oomph, I guess is the best way to describe it. There are a few pieces of the Word Thief which we need to establish. The city of Conguard is run by a monarchy. Now, what is a monarchy? A farm of, well, that's a really helpful definition, Google. It's the royal family rules the city. As like England and the Commonwealth, I'm from Australia, so we are under the Commonwealth, though we have our own politics and things like that. So our royal family rules the city of Kongard, including Prince Vexx, who, yes, this is probably an AI image, but it's a good representation. He's a little brat, but he's very suave. He kind of looks like a young Johnny Depp. He wants to be better than everyone else. Why? Well, that's something that we're going to figure out together while we put this story piece by piece and make it into a whole thing. I reckon he probably has like a manipulative uncle who's showing him the wrong things in life. In the first story arc of Word Thief, the word wrong disappears. Without the ability to say wrong, people are unable to protest about certain injustices and call out against violations and wrongdoings. So the word wrong going missing is a really, really bad thing. Now you might have a question, how do words go missing? It's not clear at first, but I know for a fact that there is going to be a ritual which we'll explore later on in Word Thief. Through this ritual, a word can be removed from the public's knowledge. All that is left is the word essence. However, the word essence needs to be stored inside an object, a vessel. If not, the essence will return to the world and the people, the public, will remember it again. Prince Vexx has entrusted the word essence of wrong to a rich banker. He's hidden the word essence inside an object, but it could be anything. It could be a coin, it could be a vault, it could be a bag. A bag? No, I mean a sack. A note, literally anything. Again, we're going to figure out what this vessel is as we create this story together. So again, if you have any ideas of what the vessel could be, where the word essence is being stored, put your ideas in the comments and I'll review them in the next episode, if there is any. I literally have like 250 subscribers, so who am I talking to? The only thing is, it needs to make sense to this crappy banker. He's greedy, he's a pig. Perfect example. So it needs to make sense to his ego, his greed, his lust for money. And by the way, it wouldn't be like an ATM because this is set in Victorian era sort of inspired fantasy. ATMs don't exist. So who's going to find the word essence and bring the word wrong back to the public's knowledge? A word thief, and his name is Echo. This is a really good representation on what he could look like. Very cool. His eyes are always covered in shadows as he's wearing his thief hood. Echo is in his early 20s and has been a practicing word thief for many, many years since he was a teenager. He lives in the poor district of Kongard and is the apprentice to a very, very famous and successful inventor. His past is mysterious. However, one thing is for certain: he was an orphan, and now he's escaped that life and now lives with the inventor. So the inventor would be like a quirky inventor. You know, it'd be something like this, a very whimsical kind of all over the place. It'd be like this guy. I forgot his name, but it'd be like this dude from Metaphor Fantasio. That's a really good reference. Kongard is filled with many types of wacky characters. It's a world inspired by Pinocchio, and I knew I'd get that reference in here eventually. In Pinocchio, there's a lot of animal characters that dress like humans and act like humans. The most famous example would be the Sly Fox and his cat friend, who try and manipulate Pinocchio and make him turn into a goat. The movie is so messed up. Kongard's going to be very similar to this. There's going to be a lot of human characters, but there's also going to be a lot of animal characters who wear human clothes like the fox. There's going to be, for example, a bear in a suit, and he works as a receptionist at the bank. There's going to be cats. There's going to be dogs who are homeless beggars. This one's important. There's going to be a red panda who in the daytime is an accountant, but in the nighttime he's Echo's mentor. Ooh, and he's a red panda. I just think red pandas are just adorable. Look at them. And you can tell they're wise. Echo must venture into the night, much like an episode of Batman the Animated Series, to uncover the mystery behind the missing word wrong. He must stop those responsible for taking the word and steal the word essence back so that the public can remember it again. Who stole the word? Why? And where is the word essence being hidden? This is Word Thief, and the story is just beginning. Join me in the next episode where we'll be going more in depth about the characters, specifically the banker himself, why he would steal the word wrong. We'll also go into more detail about Vexx and his relationship with his family. He has a sister and a father who is the king of Kongard. We also have Echo and his thieving friends, because Echo isn't the only word thief who is working in the city. Don't be afraid to leave your ideas in the comments. Please do. I'd be very interested to hear what people think of this story idea. This is a very niche topic, so I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get many views on this video, but I'm going to keep making these because they're interesting and they're fun to make. So please join me on this adventure and help me create Word Thief. Come write with me. All right, Steve, you can play the. Can you just, Steve, just play the outro, man.